In this section, we'll talk about Form Designer and Form Properties. Currently, we are in a Form Designer for an account's default form. Form Designer is divided into three panes. On the left side, it's Properties pane. In the middle is Designer pane, and on the right side, it's Tabs and Fields pane. We will start with Designer pane. Designer pane is a mockup or a visualization of the form you are currently working on. And here you can organize fields, components, tabs, lists, everything you add on a form. We have two views. One for smaller screens and one for wider screens. It's important to mention that we see multiple panels or multiple tabs only in case of flexible form layout. Next one is Tabs and Fields pane. In the tab section, we see all the tabs and lists we can add on a form. Detail tab is the fundamental block of every form. In the fields and components, we have components like table, button, image, and all the accounts fields we can add on a detail tab. On the left side is the properties pane. Here we see all the properties of an item selected in the designer pane. So right now we have general tab selected, and we see its properties. If we would select name field as we did now, here we see its properties. We can also look at the properties of a button. If we drag and drop it here on our general tab, we also see button properties. We can look at image properties, again drag and drop it in our tab. Here we have add image, so the source of an image, and we have image actions we can choose. Let's delete those components. Let's go through the tab properties one by one. First we have name, so it's basically the name which is displayed at the top of the tab. Then we have a side. We can decide at which side we want our tab to be, so it's either left or right. Next one is a header. We can choose the style of a header if it's a hidden, as is demonstrated here. Then we have icon and title, and title. Next in the properties is an icon. By clicking here, we can choose from a pre-selected or already uploaded images. Additionally, we can click here on already selected icon and upload one directly. Next property is width. We can decide if we want to have our tab through half of the form, which is in one panel, or full through both panels. I will show you how does it look like in the app. So let's open an account record. And here, as you can see, we have info tab displayed in one panel, and then map tab displayed through a full width. Next property is height. Height actually does two things. If we define height for a list, the value is by default 4. It determines how many records we see in associated lists or in any lists. So here in the contact lists, we see 4 records at one time. If you want to see more, we have to scroll down. For any other tab than list, height is calculated automatically by the number of fields and components. But through a height property, we can change this and set the height manually. So, for example, as you could see in the application, our map is a bit too big for our form. So, we can change the height. If we go to height and write 400 and then pnx at the end, it has to be there, otherwise it's the default value. And save and close, publish. We'll synchronize the app and look at the map. In here. So now the map has only 400 pixels and it's adequate for our form. This height property is pretty useful if you are aiming for a pixel perfect form, where you can adjust perfectly how many pixels you want your tab to be. Let's head back. And last two properties are expand button and initial state. Initial state means if we want the tab when the form is loaded to be expanded or collapsed. So here we can choose the initial state, and the expand button basically means if this button is visible or not. So if you want to allow your users to expand and collapse. This is everything we'll cover in this section. If you are interested in more information, you can hover above any property and there will be a tooltip. You can click here for more information, and a dedicated page on Wiki will be shown.